Have you ever pictured a daring midnight assault up sheer cliffs that could steal an entire continent from one empire and gift it to another? But what desperate gamble turned the tide of a global war? In 1759, during the 7 Years' War, Britain eyed France's North American jewel, New France. But Quebec City, perched on unassailable cliffs, seemed invincible, a fortress guarding Canada's heart. General James Wolfe, the British commander, was a brilliant but sickly officer, known for his audacity. He was running out of time. Winter was approaching, and his fleet would soon be forced to retreat. Desperate, Wolfe scoured the shoreline for a weakness. His spies finally found it, a small, hidden path up the cliffs called the Anse au Foulon. Imagine sneaking 4,800 men up 170-foot walls under a moonless sky. It was insane. Could they pull off the impossible without alerting the French guards? Meanwhile, the French commander, the Marquis de Montcalm, was a seasoned veteran. He believed his fortress was impenetrable. He had spread his forces thin along the riverbanks to counter Wolfe's various feints and landings. He expected another attack at Beauport, miles downstream, not a direct assault on the cliffs themselves. His confidence was his greatest vulnerability. The night of September 12th was dark and rainy. Wolfe gave the order. The first wave of British troops rowed silently toward the designated landing spot. A French-speaking officer in the lead boat even managed to trick a French sentry on the shore, responding to a challenge in perfect French. Pure genius. The advance party, known as the Forlorn Hope, scrambled up the treacherous path, overpowering the small French outpost at the top. The hidden path was secured. Now came the hard part. 4 hours, in near total darkness, thousands of British soldiers scaled the muddy, slippery cliffs, hauling themselves up with ropes and branches. One false step could send a man plummeting to his death and alert the entire French army. It was a masterpiece of stealth and discipline. By dawn, an astonishing sight greeted the waking city. A full British army, formed in battle lines on the Plains of Abraham, a farmer's field just outside Quebec's walls. The surprise was total. Montcalm was stunned. He hastily gathered his forces, a mix of regular French troops, Canadian militia, and indigenous warriors, and marched out of the city to meet the British head-on. It was a fatal mistake. His men were disorganized and not prepared for a formal European-style battle. Why didn't he wait for reinforcements? Hubris, perhaps, or the belief that a swift, aggressive charge could drive the British back over the cliff. On the morning of September 13th, the two armies faced each other. The air crackled with tension. Wolfe had his men load their muskets with 2 balls for maximum effect and ordered them to hold their fire until the French were just 30 yards away. The French advanced, their lines wavering, firing sporadically. The British redcoats stood like a solid red wall, silent and unmoving. Then, the order came. A single, devastating volley erupted from the British line, a thunderous crash of fire and lead that tore through the French ranks. Bodies dropped like dominoes. Before the smoke even cleared, the British fixed bayonets and charged. The entire battle lasted less than 30 minutes. It was a brutal, chaotic melee. In the fighting, Wolfe, leading from the front, was shot 3 times. As he lay dying, he heard a cry, "They run." He asked, "Who runs?" "The enemy, sir," came the reply. Wolfe's last words were, "Now, God be praised, I will die in peace." Montcalm was also mortally wounded while trying to rally his broken troops, dying the next day inside the city. The French army was shattered, fleeing in disarray back toward Quebec. A few days later, the city surrendered. Quebec had fallen, sealing France's fate in North America. By 1763, the Treaty of Paris officially handed Canada over to Britain. Empires were redrawn in a single morning. The Battle of the Plains of Abraham was more than just a battle. It was the birth of a nation. The clash of these 2 empires on a small field in Quebec laid the foundations for modern Canada, a country with a unique dual heritage. 2 generals died, but their shared sacrifice echoes in history. The Plains of Abraham, where continents collided. What if the cliffs had held? What if Montcalm had waited? History turns on such small moments. Thanks for watching.
Like the video and subscribe to the channel.